happened? My bag? So we're at a Starbucks, which is where most adventure riders go. But today we're gonna go beyond the Starbucks.
Beyond the Starbucks.
The Ivanpah Solar Fields. Let's hit it.
Back. I'm down to take the highway to Tecopa. This is beautiful, but what in the hell?
Up. Are you filming this?
Yeah.
Stop in Baker and let's talk about our decision. See how we get there. All right. So what exactly happened, Maggie?
Well, we decided to go snowboarding.
Zach, what did we decide to do when it started snowing?
To continue on because we thought it would be better later, but it got really bad really quick. So we did the mature thing and turned around.
We did turn around.
Yeah.
So we got up. We were gonna go do this mountain pass. We knew the weather wasn't gonna be.
Was initiated. Snow mode was initiated. Anyone who's ridden a Pan America, if you've ever seen snow mode, turn back.
Turn back.
We ended up just turning around. That's kind of the first time actually we've really done that on an adventure, which
How responsible of us.
yeah, there's been so many times now where we've gone out and done something and been like, dude, this is gnarly, but it'll probably get better, and then it doesn't. So this was one of those days where I think logically it was like, all right, if we go over this pass and somebody gets hurt in the snow, then they're gonna be buried, we're gonna be hypothermic, and it's gonna be really hard to get rescued, so it was just better off.
I think this is important. Like, I think it was easier today because when we started the day, we're like, if shit hits the fan, because we already knew the weather was inclement. When we start the day and we're like, look, if we hit the shit, it is okay to turn around and make the decision. And I feel like now every adventure should be that. We should start the day with caffeine and saying, hey, shit hits the fan, we can just turn around.
Yeah, our pre-ride brief was good.
It was good. We did good.
We did good. We drew the line in the sand because it was crappy weather.
No, we drew it in the snow.
We drew it in the snow.
We drew the line in the snow.
That's true. Now we're gonna head from Baker into Tecopa, and we're gonna go meet our special guest, and I guess try to warm up in some hot springs. this.
Okay.
Especially with Paisley.
Hello. Hello.
Action.
Action.
But what's your name and tell us a little bit about you. Why are you out here and what do you do?
I ask myself that question all the damn time. My name is Sarah Jane. I go by Wonderhussy on YouTube. I have a YouTube channel exploring weird stuff in the middle of nowhere like you guys do.
Yeah.
I've been doing that for 8 years, and I was living in Vegas. I was also working as a nude model when I lived in Vegas, and so for that, I would take guys out into the desert and pose nude at all these different badass desert locations.
Okay.
I did that for 10 years. Well, I got kind of too old to be modeling anymore. A, B, I got tired of it. I got more interested in the looking for the locations because I was always looking for old ghost towns or old busted up ruins to pose at, you know, for these guys. I got more interested in the locations than I did the modeling. So I started transitioning into YouTubing, and that was in 2016. And I've been doing that ever since. Now, you know, a few years go by. I go, well, I don't need to live in the city anymore. I can live anywhere as long as I have an internet connection to upload these videos. So my sister and I thought, well, let's move to Tecopa. Well, actually, I lived in Vegas. She lived in LA, and we go, let's move to the desert and be weird.
Yeah.
Let's just make weird art. We were inspired. There's a place out here called Villa Anita. It's a kind of like a bed and breakfast / funky weird art compound. I mean, you've never seen anything like this crazy art place with these two guys that run it. So we were kind of like, yeah, let's do our own like little mini Villa Anita type situation. So it seemed like a good idea at the time. We both moved out here. We don't know anything. We're both from the city. Two dumb girls from the city move out to the desert. What could possibly go wrong? I mean, the first month we're here, and I'm documenting all this for YouTube. We had a snake in the house. We're dealing with scorpions and these crazy. You know what a tarantula hawk is?
No.
I've seen them.
Yeah, big, nasty flying thing that lays its eggs in a live tarantula, and then the eggs hatch and eat the tarantula.
They're
Anyway, it
gross.
has the second most painful sting of any insect on the
Planet.
planet. One of those flew in our front door the very first night we stayed here. We didn't know what it was. My sister goes, ah! She hit it with a fly swatter. She knocked it out. And I'm filming everything for YouTube, and everybody in the comments goes, oh, that's a tarantula! Yeah, so we've definitely had some adventures out here, but, you know, it's been 2.5 years now. We got our sea legs, so to speak.
Sand legs.
You know, yeah, we are sand legs. It's okay. We like it. You know, it's never boring. I'll say that. You know.
Cool. Seems like a cool spot.
Weird desert stuff.
But
Yeah.
it's good to have the lay of the land, you know. And this is
Yeah.
not too far. I mean,
We're
You're-
not.
you're
I mean,
in-
it feels like you're on the edge of the world, but we're only 90 minutes from Vegas, you know? And from the edge of Vegas, you know, like the southwest edge, you could be there in an hour and 15, depending on how
That's
fast you
where
drive.
we live.
Yeah, so you're perfect. You're our
Yeah, we're in
neighbors.
the right spot.
We like exploring weird things in the desert, and I think you like exploring weird things in the desert. So if we were to be based in Tecopa for a couple days, looking for those kinds of things that you have to travel those hard roads to get to, what would be your top few favorites that are worth the trek to go check out?
Well, I mean, you're in Tecopa. You got to check out the hot springs.
Yep.
Now, obviously, these resorts all have hot springs.
I'm just gonna reach over the top. That's what I did last time. Probably.
Some high top security.
Very secure. Let's go to that far one. We're gonna come out over that way and then come in. Yeah.
okay. It didn't look good
No.
over there.
No, it didn't look good. So this is a lot better, huh?
But that's no fun, right? There's no rough road. You just put on your bathrobe, walk out of your room. Well, we got a couple hot springs that are out in the desert. They're not like super hard to get to. One of them is right off the highway. But there's one tucked away back here in the sand dunes that the locals call Hepatitis Springs. Okay.
Nice.
Now, I think they might have given it that name just to scare people away.
Okay.
Isn't this the one they call the hepatitis spring? Oh, okay.
It's not that bad. In fact, matter of fact, I was just out there in December. We drained it and scrubbed the whole thing out and cleaned it. And when we drained it, I go, oh man, this is going to be nasty at the bottom. You know, like pubic hairs and toenail clippings and Band-Aids. No, it really wasn't. It's just sand from the desert. It was pretty clean, even the sludge at the
Cool.
bottom. So the hot springs is my top recommendation.
Okay. Hepatitis hot springs.
Hepatitis
Hepatitis hot
Springs.
springs.
Hepatitis springs.
Hepatitis Springs. I also am a huge fan. So the Amargosa River runs through here. It was just a really interesting river. river that it runs mostly underground, but it does come to the surface in certain places, which you can see out here in this big marsh. And it cuts a beautiful canyon down by the China Ranch Date Farm, which a lot of people are familiar with. You can go to the date farm. It's cool. You can get a date shake. They've got some cool old antiques and hiking trails.
Justin, what was your first impression of this date ranch out here?
I mean, it's really interesting. It's like out of nowhere, you're in like flat desert, and then it's like you literally pop out into a little oasis. You go through this valley, and it's like, oh.
Yeah.
You've been out here before?
Yep. I've always been impressed with the ride here. You know, you're through desert, which I think is beautiful, and then you basically descend through this valley with little, twists and turns where all you see is, dirt and rock, and it's all carved by, ancient floods and whatnot. This is a wash. I believe the Amargosa River runs underground through here, and that's why they have this oasis here, why it's thrived and successful. It's been here for a long, long time. I've been here a bunch of times. They have great date shakes. I highly recommend those. They're very rich. But we're having some. What we get a date frappe.
A date frappe.
And it was delightful. So it's a lot of cool things down here.
Yeah. I think it's cool. We obviously like to ride a lot of dirt out here. We got blocked in the pass with the snow. We made the call yesterday to turn back around, but we got to go have lunch at Baker, which was super cool. Some place that we hadn't gotten to stop before. The ride from Baker out to Tecopa, the road is beautiful. The desert is amazing right now. We were getting some desert flowers out there. That was super rad. So even if you are traversing some of the desert back roads out to this place, this date farm is really worth checking out.
Not really off the beaten path though.
Yeah.
Well, if you go along the top of the canyon, you drive out like you're going to the date farm, but keep going, there's a road called Thelma and Louise Road. And it's called that because it goes straight out to the edge of the Amargosa River Canyon. And you can camp right on the edge of the canyon. Or I suppose if you really want to be like Thelma and Louise, you could just drive right off the edge of the canyon. I just camped on the edge, and it's a cool campsite. Great cell signal, which there's no cell signal out here. So pro tip if you're boondocking and you want to be able to use your phone. But then you can also hike down into the canyon from there. And there's a really neat old miners camp where this guy lived, and all his tools are still hanging up. You can hike down the canyon from there to the date ranch and get that delicious date shake.
And then you earned it at that point.
Yes, you did.
You got all your calories.
Yeah, and in fact, you can even hike that. Another one of my favorite hikes is hike the whole from the date ranch all the way to the Death Valley Brewery. So you start out at the date ranch, you hike 7 miles through this gorgeous canyon. You go past old crumbling stone ruins of old buildings, old cars. There's all kinds of stuff down there. The old railroad tracks from the Tonopah Tidewater Railroad. 7-mile hike, and you end up at the brewery, which is the perfect place to end up after a 7-mile hike. Yep. Ice cold beer.
Cool.
Yeah.
Dang, we're gonna have to check these out. Okay, we're taking notes.
There's a lot to do here for a podunk place in the middle of nowhere. We have more breweries per capita than any other town in America, believe it or not. Whoa. Now, okay, there's only 150, 200 people living here. We have 2 breweries, 4 restaurants, and 5, 6 hot spring resorts.
And some pretty fire barbecue, honestly. That was really
amazing barbecue here at Delight's, and then we've got a great steak restaurant. If you're really a steak person, a meat eater, this dude, he was a chef in Vegas, and he just couldn't handle the city anymore, so he came out here, and he's kind of grumpy.
The barbecue chef?
No, the barbecue chef can be grumpy too, but he's cool. The steak guy is just grumpy, but he makes amazing friggin'. He's only open a few hours, 4 or 5 nights a week. But if you get in, man, it's top of the line steaks. Yeah, no kidding. Definitely recommend that. And then we got a really good cafe at the other end of town. We've got the brewery that serves bar food. So even living out here, I don't have to cook. I could. October through April, I could eat out every night. April through October, the town shuts down.
Because it's a bazillion degrees, and there's the bomber flies.
There's flies, really bothersome flies. It's bazillion degrees. But that being said, this Delight's Hot Spring is open in the summer, and that swimming pool here, it's the place to be in the summertime. It's beautiful. And there's there's an amazing peace out here in the summer because there's nobody out here. It's just quiet.
Yeah,
and if you're trying to focus, work on a project or something, an indoor project.
It's a good spot for it.
It is. So, cool. Yeah. I'm not saying I'll be here in the summer, but, it's not that bad.
Okay, so this town is actually called Shoshone, but apparently up north it's Shoshone. So they pronounce it differently down here, and it was actually the Native Americans that said Shoshone, but it is the Shoshone up north.
Okay.
Yeah, so there you go. There's a fun little fact. Another fun little fact is that this museum apparently has been transported multiple times and is an artifact itself, and was, I guess, 20 miles up that way, then it got moved that way, and then it ended up back here.
What?
So the museum itself, this is a museum, so if you guys are interested in learning some more about this cool little town, which there actually turns out to be a lot of really cool things in here, including some cave homes that are just around the corner over here. Some miners blasted out holes that one of them apparently is 2 stories and has a garage.
What?
Yeah, you can't get into it because people were stealing stuff out of them, but
Yeah.
you can stick your camera in there and check it out. There is a little, behind the Shoshone Inn, there is actually a little tortoise cage. So there's desert tortoises and pupfish. So you know how in the Devil's Hole there are the pupfish?
Yeah.
Here you can actually see them. And they said that they're not quite as protected because they're like cousins or something along those lines.
Cousin pupfish.
So they're cousin pupfish, so you can actually get in, see the pupfish. They're little weird blind fish. They live out in the desert, and it's only here in this part of the world, so that's interesting.
Cool.
And then my last little fun fact is that there's some really good hiking around here, and apparently a lot of birders come here and go do some desert bird watching. So if you want to come out and do some hiking, that's a good little thing to do in this cool little town. So yeah, what else we got, Maggie?
This town is where we head back to Las Vegas. We're calling it a day. We made it for breakfast-ish. We came in here because this is a really good town to stop in, but again, just with how much flooding has come through, even the people we talked to, some of the things we thought we might be able to go check out, it's going to be a lot of mud, deep water, and I'm just not 100% to do that today. So this is going to be our last stop on this trip, but we are planning on coming back, hitting up Tecopa, doing all those things. And then this is a really key, important city out here in the desert because...
This is actually a stop on the California BDR, mainly because, this is a neat little place, right? So you have a Chevron across the street where you can get gas. It's also a convenience store, so you can pick up some snacks. And I believe they have like sandwiches and whatnot, and if you're tired, you can stay at the Shoshone Inn, which is right next door to it. You can walk this whole town probably in 5 minutes, really. I've been through here probably 100 times, mainly because it's a cool ride. It's about an hour from Las Vegas, and I come here with my dad, and we eat at the Crowbar. It's really good food and great, friendly service. It's always a pleasant experience, and I've eaten there a few times. And usually, like you can head north, and there's a turnoff to Badwater, which is a great road. It just you just descend down into the valley, and it's just very scenic and beautiful. And you end up in Badwater, and you continue on, and you be at Furnace Creek. You continue straight down this road, and you end up in Amargosa, and they have the old opera house there. And there's a way to get to Pahrump from there. And then if you continue this way, you can go to Baker. You pass by Dumont Dunes. It's super beautiful. We just rode that, and amazing.
This is a good little hub to kind of split out from Death Valley. And really, if you're going to do off-road, this is a spot that I think is super important to put on your map because it is one of the few places you can get premium gas. Mm-hmm. So if you go up to Furnace Creek, they only have regular. Mm-hmm. So it's something really important to know. And then restock at water, whatever, and head out into some of these really sick trails. This was one of our stops as part of our original plan because we needed to get fuel for the rest of our trip. And I think just to piggyback on what Maggie was saying is that it's really easy to get into something like what we're doing and potentially get yourself into a really shitty, bad situation. So we had to make an executive decision yesterday when we were going up the mountain that, this is snowing like crazy. If we get stuck up here, it's going to be hard to get rescued. If somebody gets hurt, they're going to get really cold really quick, and that could turn into hypothermia and exasperate whatever condition we were in. So we had to really make a smart choice, I think, and that was the turnaround. And then this morning to wake up and Maggie's feeling a little bit under the weather, and then not only that, but the forecast is that it's supposed to rain. We're in the desert, and there's such thing as crazy flash flooding. And last time I was through here, it was some pretty wild water crossings, and deep, silty, nasty sand that you could get stuck in, and we just don't really want to take the chances for that. So we made the most out of today, and this is a great road ride, and I think that that's in itself a really important lesson, that sometimes you just got to kind of take a different direction and then do something, on the road and easy and have fun. This concludes our episode of Operation Fucked and Rerouted.
Yeah. We found a lot of cool hot springs out here.
Including what's behind us.
This is the Hepatitis Springs.
Hepatitis Springs. And who do we learn that from?
Wonderhussy.
Wonderhussy taught us that. And so what's our little outro here? This is The Way We Roam.